The burden of knowledge. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood motionless before the holographic display, her weathered face illuminated by the ghostly images of a dying world. She watched as massive warships, angular constructions of dark metal and pulsing energy, methodically reduced an alien civilization to ashes. Orbital defenses crumbled into expanding clouds of debris, while planetary shields flickered and failed under concentrated fire. "Play it again," she ordered, her voice steady despite the knot tightening in her stomach. Her bridge crew exchanged uneasy glances but complied. The scene reset. Peaceful orbital stations transformed into silent explosions, cities below becoming infernos visible even from space. This was the third such recording they'd received in less than a month. "Analysis confirms the pattern, Captain," said her XO, Commander Terrence Wu. "The Krell armada is systematically eliminating non-aligned worlds in a direct path toward the Sylvan homeworld." Rodriguez's hand clenched. The Sylvans, a peaceful, technologically advanced species who had been the first to welcome humanity to the galactic community a mere decade ago, were clearly the ultimate target. And the Galactic Council's response? Wu's expression hardened. The same as before. They've condemned the Krell actions but claim intervention would violate sovereignty principles since these worlds chose to remain independent of Council protection. On a secondary display, alien diplomats argued in their crystalline chamber, each species adding their voice to a chorus of inaction. "We must study the situation further," declared the avian representative, feathers rustling with artificial dignity. These worlds chose independence. Intervention could be seen as violation of their autonomy. Rodriguez saw what others missed, or chose to ignore. The Krell weren't just conquering, they were hunting. And the Sylvan's world, with its ancient knowledge repositories and unique biotechnology, was their ultimate prize. "The Council debates while innocents die," she whispered, then raised her voice. "Get me a direct link to Earth Command." "Captain." Wu hesitated. "The Council hasn't authorized." "The Council is still deliberating while worlds burn," Rodriguez replied, her eyes never leaving the hologram of destruction. "Sometimes waiting for permission means waiting too long." The quantum communicator hummed to life, Earth Command's insignia rotating in the air. Rodriguez had rehearsed this moment countless times, knowing it would define not just her career but humanity's place among the stars. "Captain Rodriguez reporting," she began, her voice carrying the weight of decision. "I'm invoking Emergency Protocol 7. The Krell threat has exceeded Council containment capabilities, requesting authorization for independent intervention." A heavy pause followed. Then, "Elaborate, Captain." Rodriguez laid out the evidence, the pattern of attacks, the path to the Sylvan homeworld, the technologies at stake. "If the Krell gain access to Sylvan biotechnology, the balance of power won't just shift, it'll shatter. Earth may be new to the galactic stage, but we know this story. We've lived it." Another pause, longer this time. She could almost hear the calculations happening on Earth, political implications, military risks, the potential fallout from defying Council protocol. But she also knew humans had learned to recognize moments when rules must bend to prevent greater catastrophe. "You understand the consequences if this goes wrong." Earth Command's voice carried no judgment, only certainty. "Yes," Rodriguez replied. "And I understand the consequences if we do nothing." The response came surprisingly fast. "Authorization granted. The Third Fleet is yours, Captain. Save those worlds." Relief and resolve mixed in Rodriguez's chest as she turned to her crew. "Send word to all ships. Battle Protocol Alpha. We move in 6 hours." She paused, knowing her next words would be recorded in history. "The Council debates while innocents die. Today, humanity shows the galaxy a different path." As her orders rippled through the fleet, Rodriguez studied the tactical displays. Human ships were smaller than Krell dreadnoughts, their technology a hybrid of Earth innovation and adapted alien science. On paper, they were outmatched, But humanity had never let unfavorable odds prevent them from doing what was right. "One more thing," she added, her voice carrying across the bridge. "Send a message to the Sylvan Enclave." She smiled slightly, remembering an old Earth phrase. "Tell them help is coming, whether they want it or not." The bridge erupted into activity, preparations for war mixing with a palpable sense of purpose. Humanity's first major intervention in galactic politics wouldn't be for profit or power, but to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. In Rodriguez's mind, there was no better way to announce their arrival on the cosmic stage. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace in a formation that made alien observers question their sensor readings. Instead of the rigid battle lines favored by Council tacticians, Earth's ships moved in what appeared to be controlled chaos. Corvettes darted between capital ships, their miniaturized fusion drives leaving trails of blue fire against the void. Status report: Rodriguez commanded from the UES Horizons Bridge. The flagship represented humanity's greatest achievement in hybrid technology, Earth engineering combined with alien metallurgy, creating something neither culture could have built alone. "All Wolfpack squadrons reporting ready," Commander Wu announced. "Quantum networks synchronized, neural interface connections at optimal levels." He paused, checking another reading. "The Council observation vessel is expressing concerns about our formation." Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. "Let them worry. Begin Phase 2 deployment." The fleet's movement shifted, corvettes breaking into smaller groups while larger ships adjusted positions in ways that seemed to expose critical vulnerabilities. To traditional military doctrine, it looked like madness. To human tacticians, it was the culmination of centuries of warfare evolution. Deep in the horizon's heart, quantum computers powered by human-designed neural networks processed combat scenarios at speeds that made light seem sluggish. Each ship carried similar systems, all linked in a vast network that could rewrite its own protocols mid-battle. The Council had deemed such systems dangerously unpredictable. Humanity called them adaptable. "Krell signatures detected," the sensor officer reported. "Multiple capital ships emerging from hyperspace." The tactical display lit up with enemy vessels, but their energy signatures defied known physics. Some ships seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously, while others registered as void spaces in reality itself. "They've been busy," Rodriguez muttered, studying the readings. "Looks like our intelligence was right about them raiding advanced tech from conquered worlds." She opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, initiate Protocol Omega. They want to show us something new. Let's show them what humanity brings to the fight." The wolf packs surged forward, each corvette pilot linked to their ship through neural interfaces that Earth had developed by studying and improving upon alien biotechnology. The small ships moved like extensions of human consciousness, performing maneuvers that computers alone could never calculate. But the Krell had surprises waiting. The first human casualty came when a corvette's shields failed to stop a weapon that seemed to ignore conventional physics. The second was worse. A Krell dreadnought passed through an asteroid as if it were mist, emerging behind a human cruiser. "Phase technology," Wu breathed. "They've weaponized quantum uncertainty." "And that's not all," Rodriguez responded, watching as new data flooded the tactical displays. "Those energy signatures, they're not just using advanced tech. They're using something older, something that shouldn't exist anymore." The Horizon's AI flagged a pattern in the Krell ship movements. Their seemingly random attacks were creating a complex geometric pattern in four-dimensional space. Whatever they'd discovered in their conquests was more than just weapons technology. "All ships, adjust neural interface frequencies," Rodriguez ordered. "They're trying to establish some kind of quantum field. Don't let them complete the pattern." Human corvettes darted through the gaps in Krell formation, their unpredictable movements disrupting the precise geometry the enemy needed. The larger ships followed, using their hybrid technology to create localized distortions in space-time. "Captain," the science officer called out, "we're detecting massive energy buildup in the Krell flagship, whatever they're planning." The space between fleets erupted in a cascade of impossible colors as reality itself seemed to hiccup. Ships on both sides reported sensor failures and quantum fluctuations. In that moment of chaos, Rodriguez saw what the Krell were really doing. "All ships, fall back to secondary positions," she commanded. "They're not just fighting us. They're trying to tear open a hole in space-time itself." The human fleet executed a fighting retreat, their seemingly chaotic formation revealing itself as a precisely calculated defense. Each ship moved in concert with the others, creating a complex web of overlapping fields that contained the Krell's quantum anomalies. "Ready the CISO war protocols," Rodriguez ordered, her voice steady despite the implications of what they faced. "If they want to play with forces beyond conventional physics, we'll show them humanity's answer to the impossible." As her orders spread through the fleet, the neural networks adapted, learning and evolving strategies in real time. The wolf packs regrouped, preparing for a new phase of battle that would test not just human technology, but human ingenuity itself. Looking at the tactical display, Rodriguez knew they were witnessing the beginning of something unprecedented. The Krell weren't just fighting for conquest anymore. They were reaching for power that no species was meant to control. And humanity, despite being newcomers to galactic civilization, might be the only ones prepared to stop them. "All ships," she broadcast, "prepare for maximum engagement. Today we show the galaxy why Earth breeds warriors who think as well as fight." The fleet acknowledged, human determination flowing through neural links and quantum networks. The real battle was about to begin, and its outcome would reshape the understanding of what was possible in warfare among the stars. The voice of humanity. Lieutenant Sasha Novik felt her consciousness expand as her neural link activated, merging her awareness with her corvette, the UES Firefly. The quantum rings of the Sylvan homeworld caught starlight and scattered it in prismatic waves across the battlefield. Among these rainbow refractions, human corvettes lived up to their nickname, Fireflies, their drives pulsing like stellar heartbeats as they wove through three-dimensional space with impossible grace. Wolfpack Delta, execute pattern Echo 7, Novik called through the neural network. Her consciousness extended through quantum links to her corvette. The ship became less a vessel and more an extension of her own body. Around her, 11 other pilots merged with their ships in similar fashion. The Krell phase ships emerged from solid asteroids, their matter-phasing technology allowing them to use the ring system as both cover and weapon. They expected to find easy prey. Instead, they found human pilots operating on pure instinct, their neural-linked ships responding faster than any computer could calculate. "They're trying to predict our movements," Novik reported, her ship spiraling through a gap barely wider than its hull. "They're targeting algorithms. They're learning too fast. This isn't normal." "That's because it's not their tech." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the quantum net, steady despite the chaos. "They're using predictive systems stolen from conquered worlds. Old tech, but incredibly advanced." The battle transformed into a deadly dance as human intuition clashed with ancient algorithms. Corvettes moved in patterns that defied conventional logic, their pilots channeling generations of human adaptability through neural interfaces that blurred the line between organic and machine. But the Krell were far from defeated. Their phase ships began matching the human movements, the stolen predictive systems learning and adapting. The first corvette fell when its evasive pattern was anticipated perfectly, a phase beam cutting through shields designed to stop normal weapons. "They're not just predicting us," Rodriguez realized, watching the tactical display aboard the horizon. "They're predicting our adaptations. The algorithms are evolving faster than our neural nets can learn." Novik felt it in her neural link, the increasing pressure as the Krell systems narrowed down their possible moves, like a chess game where the opponent could see 20 moves ahead. But humans had been playing chess for centuries, and they'd learned something machines never could. Sometimes the best move was the one that made no sense at all. "Wolfpack Delta," she called, "disengage neural assistance. We're going pure human on this." Lieutenant, Rodriguez's voice carried concern. Without the neural nets managing our movements, they'll be truly random. Novik finished. No pattern for them to predict, because we're not using any pattern at all, just human instinct and training. It was dangerous, flying complex ships through combat without computational assistance, but it was also purely human, the willingness to throw away apparent advantages to gain a deeper edge. The effect was immediate. The Krell targeting systems, designed to find patterns in chaos, encountered something their stolen algorithms couldn't process: genuine unpredictability. Human pilots flying on instinct and skill alone created a battlefield environment that defied mathematical analysis. "It's working," Rodriguez announced, watching as the Krell formation began to break down. "Their predictive systems are burning processing power trying to find patterns that don't exist. All ships, follow Delta's lead. Disengage neural assistance on weapons and navigation." "It's working," Rodriguez announced, watching as the Krell formation began to break down. "Their predictive systems are burning processing power trying to find patterns that don't exist. All ships, follow Delta's lead. Disengage neural assistance on weapons and navigation." The space above the Sylvan homeworld erupted in a display that would have made Earth's ancient fighter pilots proud. Human ships moved with organic fluidity, each pilot's decisions flowing from experience and intuition rather than calculated efficiency. The Krell phase ships, their advanced technology suddenly a hindrance, found themselves unable to cope with enemies that fought like no machine could predict. "They're falling back," Novik reported, her corvette dancing through the debris of a phase ship that had materialized in the wrong place at the wrong time. "Their formations are breaking down." But victory brought its own revelation. As the Krell ships retreated, their movements revealed what they'd been hiding: a massive device, half-phased into the largest of Sylvan's rings, its purpose clear to anyone who could read ancient technology. "They're not here to conquer the Sylvans," Rodriguez's voice carried new urgency. "They're trying to download the entire Sylvan knowledge database directly into their systems. If they succeed," she didn't need to finish, "a species with phase technology and access to the sum of Sylvan knowledge would be unstoppable." The battle for the Sylvan homeworld wasn't just about saving one civilization. It was about preventing the birth of an unstoppable empire. "All ships," Rodriguez commanded, "form up on the horizon. Begin charging CSO protocols. We end this now, while we have the advantage." As the human fleet regrouped, Novik looked through her canopy at the crystalline rings of the Sylvan world. Somewhere in those ancient structures lay the accumulated knowledge of a civilization that had reached for the stars millennia before humanity had invented the wheel. Now Earth's children fought to protect that legacy, using the most basic human traits to defeat technology beyond their comprehension. The next phase would test them all, but for now, humanity had proven something important. In the face of overwhelming technological superiority, their greatest weapon remained their humanity itself. "Launch the swarm." Captain Rodriguez's command triggered a cascade of events that would rewrite galactic military doctrine forever. From the holds of human capital ships, thousands of modified mining drones poured into space like metallic rain. Each unit was smaller than a fighter, originally designed to crack asteroids and extract ore. Now they served a different purpose. The Council had banned autonomous combat units centuries ago, after a devastating war that nearly wiped out 3 civilizations. But humanity, new to galactic politics, had found a loophole. These drones weren't autonomous. Each one was quantum-linked to a human operator through experimental consciousness-sharing technology. Swarm control, status report, Rodriguez called as the cloud of drones approached the massive Krell download device embedded in the Sylvan rings. "Neural link stable," reported Lieutenant Commander Jung from the Swarm Control Center. Her body lay in a suspension pod, but her consciousness spread across hundreds of drones simultaneously. All operators showing green. "It's intense, Captain, like being in 1,000 places at once." The Krell responded to the drone attack with predictable contempt, their phase ships moving to intercept what they saw as primitive mining equipment. That contempt lasted exactly 8 seconds. The drones moved with impossible coordination, each unit anticipating the other's actions with synthetic precision, while displaying organic creativity. When Krell weapons fire phased through one drone, 3 others attacked from angles that shouldn't have been calculable. When phase ships tried to materialize inside the swarm, they found spaces that shifted faster than their computers could process. "They're adapting," Jiang reported, her voice strained from managing multiple combat perspectives simultaneously. "Their predictive systems are trying to find patterns in our movements, but they can't predict what we can't predict ourselves." The human operators, their minds linked to their drones through quantum entanglement, created battle patterns that emerged from both calculation and intuition. Each drone was both machine and human, their actions guided by silicon precision, but chosen by organic creativity. But the neural load was intense. In the control center, operators began showing signs of stress. Managing multiple drone perspectives simultaneously taxed human consciousness in ways their training hadn't fully prepared them for. "Status update on operators," Rodriguez demanded, watching as the swarm engaged Krell capital ships directly. "Running hot," Jiang answered, her voice tight with concentration. "The quantum links are stable, but processing multiple combat scenarios simultaneously is challenging. We're seeing some neural synchronization issues. Nothing critical yet, but..." She didn't need to finish. The human mind wasn't designed to exist in multiple places simultaneously. Even with all their training and technological assistance, the operators were pushing dangerous limits. On the tactical displays, though, their efforts showed clear results. The swarm had surrounded the Krell download device, their attacks precisely coordinated to disable its phase field generators. Krell ships found themselves unable to establish stable firing solutions against targets that thought faster than machines, but acted with human unpredictability. "Captain," Jiang's voice carried sudden urgency, "we're detecting energy spikes in their download device. They're trying to force-feed the entire Sylvan database into their neural networks at once." Rodriguez's eyes widened. That much data through neural interfaces, it would drive them insane. "Or worse," Jiang finished. "The Sylvan library contains technologies that could alter the fabric of reality itself, if they try to absorb that knowledge directly." The decision point arrived with brutal clarity. The swarm could press their advantage, potentially destroying the device, but risking the lives of neural-linked operators already near their limits, or they could withdraw, giving the Krell time to potentially complete their desperate gambit. "All swarm units," Rodriguez commanded, "execute Protocol Omega-7. Her voice softened slightly. "Commander Jiang, prepare your operators. What we're about to attempt has never been done before." "Captain, if they want to merge minds with machines, let's show them how humanity does it. Prepare for full neural synchronization. We're going to merge the entire swarm into a single consciousness network." The implications rippled through the fleet. Full synchronization meant combining the minds of every swarm operator into a temporary group consciousness, using the quantum links as a bridge. It had been theorized but never attempted, the risks to individual psyches deemed too high. But facing enemies willing to risk reality itself, humanity would answer with its own impossible gambit. As the swarm operators prepared for unprecedented mental union, Rodriguez watched the tactical displays and whispered an older phrase: "Sometimes to save the many, the few must risk everything." The space above the Sylvan homeworld was about to witness an evolution in warfare that would make history, if anyone survived to record it. The quantum synchronization felt like diving into an ocean of electric fire. Lieutenant Commander Jiang's consciousness expanded, merging with the minds of 23 other swarm operators. Their individual thoughts melded into a collective awareness that sprawled across thousands of linked drones. "Synchronization at 70%, reported the medical eye, its voice distant through the neural interface. Operator brain patterns showing stable fusion. Warning: unprecedented levels of neural activity detected." Through the merged consciousness, Zhang felt slash, saw slash, experienced the battle from countless perspectives simultaneously. The Krell ships burned like dark stars in their shared perception, their phase technology creating ripples in reality that the group mind could track and predict. This is. Zhang's voice spoke through multiple comm channels at once, her individual identity temporarily part of something larger. We can see everything. The pattern, the quantum fluctuations, the way they're trying to interface with the Sylvan database. What do you see, Commander? Rodriguez's voice cut through their expanded awareness. What are they trying to do? The group mind processed the question. Thousands of drones analyzing the Krell activity from every angle. The answer emerged from their collective understanding, terrible in its clarity. They're not just downloading data, Zhang reported, the group mind giving her words weight. The Sylvan Library, it's not just information. It's a key to something older, something the ancient Sylvans found but never used. Through their merged perception, the swarm operators witnessed the truth. The Krell neural networks weren't just receiving data, they were receiving instructions. Patterns older than human civilization were rewriting their enemies' minds, transforming them into something that transcended normal spacetime. Captain, Dr. Elias Chen's voice cut in from the science labs. I've decoded part of the Sylvan database. The Sylvans discovered a race called the Precursors. They found a way to evolve beyond physical form, to become beings of pure energy and thought. But the process. Show me, Rodriguez commanded. The decoded data flowed through the fleet's quantum network. The Precursors had discovered a path to digital ascension, a way to transform consciousness into pure energy. But their experiments had revealed a terrible cost. The process corrupted as it elevated, driving species mad with power even as it freed them from physical constraints. The Krell, Zhang's group mind realized, they're attempting the ascension process during battle. They're trying to transform themselves into energy beings powerful enough to defeat us, but they don't understand what they're becoming. As if to confirm their analysis, the Krell ships began emitting impossible energy signatures. Their phase technology merged with the partial ascension process, creating hybrid entities that existed simultaneously in normal space and somewhere else. Their weapons fire took on new properties, leaving trails of warped reality in their wake. All ships, full shields. Rodriguez ordered as a blast of transdimensional energy narrowly missed the horizon. They're transforming faster than the precursor data predicted. Commander Zhang, can the swarm counter them? The group mind processed combat solutions at quantum speeds, but even their merged consciousness struggled to track enemies that were becoming something beyond normal physics. The Krell were gambling everything on a transformation they didn't fully understand, reaching for godhood without comprehending its price. Through their expanded awareness, the swarm operators felt the change rippling through space-time. The Krell weren't just ascending, they were tearing holes in reality itself, their partially transformed consciousness bleeding through into dimensions that shouldn't be accessible. We can't stop their transformation, Zhang reported, the group mind reaching a unanimous conclusion. But we can contain it. How? The swarm. We can use our quantum links to create a containment field. But maintaining it will require. She hesitated. Will require what, Commander? Total neural commitment. We'll have to dive deeper into the group mind than anyone's ever gone. We might not be able to separate afterward. The implications hung in the battle-scarred space. 24 human minds choosing to risk their individual identities to save reality itself. Through their merged consciousness, each operator felt the other's resolve form into unified purpose. Do it, Rodriguez commanded, understanding the sacrifice she was asking for. Show them what humanity will risk to protect others. The swarm moved as one, thousands of drones forming complex geometric patterns in four-dimensional space. Their quantum-linked operators surrendered themselves fully to the group mind, their merged consciousness expanding to create something new, a barrier between normal spacetime and the realms the Krell were trying to breach. As reality itself seemed to bend around them, Humanity prepared to demonstrate why consciousness tempered by mortality was stronger than the false godhood of uncontrolled ascension. The true battle for the Sylvan homeworld, and perhaps existence itself, was about to begin. In the final moments of the battle, as the Krell flagship began its catastrophic transformation, the human swarm completed its containment network. A shimmering lattice of quantum-connected drones enveloped the enemy vessel, creating a pocket of isolated space-time, a prison for beings that would otherwise have escaped the bounds of physical reality. Inside the swarm control center, 24 human operators, their minds temporarily fused into a single consciousness, strained against the impossible pressure of containing entities that were becoming gods. Blood trickled from noses, ears, and eyes as their brains struggled with perceptions beyond human comprehension. On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Rodriguez watched as the containment field stabilized, trapping the ascending Krell within a prison of human design. "Status of the swarm operators," she demanded, her voice tight with concern. "Critical but stable," reported the medical officer. "Neural patterns are changing. They're still functioning as a collective entity. Attempts to disconnect them from the network have failed." Rodriguez closed her eyes briefly. 24 volunteers, now perhaps forever altered, their individual identities merged to save countless others. The price of victory was always steep. But this, "Captain," her communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission. It's coming from inside the containment field." The bridge fell silent as a voice, or rather, voices speaking in perfect unison, filled the command center. The merged consciousness of the Krell, now partially ascended, reached out in what seemed like equal parts rage and wonder. "UAAVTRIPPDUS, between states of being," the voice thundered, each word resonating on multiple frequencies simultaneously. "This cannot persist." Rodriguez straightened. "Return to your physical forms and surrender your weapons. We will release you." "Impossible. The PROCSS cannot to be REVERSET. We are BCO Mewing. We will be UCANOTPREVENTEVOLUTYN. "Perhaps not," Rodriguez replied. "But we can contain it. You sought to steal knowledge you weren't ready for, to become something beyond your understanding. Now you're trapped between what you were and what you wanted to be." A pulse of energy rippled through the containment field, testing its boundaries. But the human-designed quantum lattice held, reinforced by the focused will of 24 merged minds. "How can primitives like you attain what we are becoming?" The voice sounded genuinely puzzled beneath its rage. Before Rodriguez could answer, another voice entered the conversation, this one also speaking in unison, but with a distinctly human quality despite its multifaceted nature. "Because we understand what you don't," spoke the collective voice of the swarm operators, their merged consciousness now able to communicate directly. "True evolution isn't about power. It's about balance, about understanding the consequences of your actions. You reached for godhood without wisdom. We reach for connection while maintaining our humanity." Rodriguez felt a chill as she realized what was happening. The human swarm consciousness was evolving too, but along a different path, not toward godhood, but toward a new form of collective understanding. "You are becoming as we are," the Krell consciousness realized. "No," the human collective replied. "We are becoming what you could have been, had you sought understanding instead of power. We remain anchored to our individual selves, even as we experience unity. That is our strength, and now, your weakness." What followed was a battle unlike any fought before. Two collective consciousnesses, one alien and one human, clashing in realms beyond physical space. The Krell sought to break free of their containment by overwhelming the human collective with raw power and conceptual complexity. The humans responded with flexibility, creativity, and a willingness to sacrifice that the Krell couldn't comprehend. On the bridge of the horizon, Rodriguez and her crew could only watch as energy patterns shifted and changed within the containment field, the only visible sign of the metaphysical battle taking place. Hours later, when the patterns finally stabilized, the communications officer reported, "Captain, we're receiving a new transmission from the swarm consciousness." The voice that came through was still a unified chorus, but now calmer, more controlled. "It's over, Captain. The Krell Collective has been reconfigured. We've shown them another path." "Reconfigured?" Rodriguez asked. "What does that mean?" "We couldn't destroy them without destroying ourselves," the swarm consciousness explained. "Instead, we rewrote their collective programming. They understand now. They'll remain in the containment field until they've fully adjusted to their new state of being, one that won't threaten reality itself." "And what about you?" Rodriguez asked the question everyone on the bridge was thinking. "Can you return to your individual states?" A long pause followed. "Not completely," the consciousness finally admitted. "We've changed too much. But we haven't lost ourselves. We're still human, just more connected than before. We would like to continue serving humanity in this form, if you'll allow it." The implications were staggering. A new form of human consciousness, capable of interfacing directly with both technology and alien minds. The ultimate mediators, the ultimate defenders. "Of course," Rodriguez said, her voice thick with emotion. "You've sacrificed enough. Whatever you need, whatever you've become, you're still part of humanity." In the aftermath, as news of the battle spread throughout the galaxy, the Council found itself forced to acknowledge humanity's actions, not with the condemnation many expected, but with reluctant gratitude. The Sylvans, upon learning how close they had come to destruction, formally requested Earth's protection, the first of many species who would seek alliance with the newcomers who had proven themselves so uniquely capable. As for the 24, whom now existed as a collective consciousness, they became humanity's greatest ambassadors to the wider galaxy, able to understand alien perspectives in ways no individual human could, while still retaining the essential qualities that made humanity itself such a formidable force in the universe. When asked later why humans had intervened when the Council would not, Captain Rodriguez gave an answer that would be remembered for generations. "Because that's what humans do. We see those in need, and we help, not because it's easy or safe or politically advantageous, but because it's right." That's the voice of humanity speaking across the stars, and it's a voice the galaxy will come to know well. And so it was that humanity, the youngest species in the galactic community, became its most essential guardian, not through overwhelming technology or military might, but through the unique combination of individual courage and collective strength that had defined their species since they first looked up at the stars and wondered what lay beyond.